This is StoryRobot. Welcome to r/IDontWorkHereLady. Our story of today is, Lady smashes glass door because I won't let her inside business I don't work at. My best friend and roommate works for a small independent print shop as a graphic designer. We live in the burbs and the shop is located downtown about half an hour from our house. Oftentimes I will be downtown for an appointment of some kind, and will ride home with her rather than take the train. Usually by 4 p.m. the only people left in the shop are her and a specific coworker, so I will just hang out in the front area of the shop with my laptop. At 5 p.m. they lock the door, and then both of them gather their things up over the next 15 to 20 minutes before actually leaving. They are often out of sight, packing up in the back. Last Friday was one such day. At around 5:10, a lady came up to the door of the shop, a glass door. She saw me sitting there and started tapping on the door. I looked up and mouthed, "The shop is closed." She yelled back, "I have a question." I pointed at my wrist and said loudly, "I'm sorry, the shop closes at 5 and I don't work here." She grabbed the handle on the door and started shaking it as if she could magically make the door open, and then started pounding on the door again. So I set down my laptop and walked over to the door. She screamed, "I only have one question, can you let me in so I can talk to you?" At this point screaming was really not necessary as we were only separated by a glass door. I said, "Madam, I don't work here, and the door is locked from the inside by a key I don't have. I can't let you in." She screamed, "Why are you being such an beephole? I know you're closed, but it's one question." Then, to emphasize her point, she slammed her open palm on the glass door, which absolutely shattered. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. It's not like it cracked and spiderwebbed out, it just went to shards and fell to the ground. Fortunately I had stepped back. The lady blinked in shock and then started to speed walk away. Fortunately we are in a massive metropolitan city, and I was able to follow her only half a block before I saw a police officer standing on the street. The officer walked us both back to the shop with the woman ranting about how it wasn't her fault and if I had just let her in, blah blah blah. She called for backup and 2 more officers arrived, and by this time my friend and her coworker had come up front. They took another officer back to look at the security footage which is digitally captured, and that was pretty much that. Lady got arrested on the spot and I had to give a statement, and I'm told I'll probably have to testify in court on behalf of the shop owner to get a civil penalty added onto criminal charges and help them avoid small claims. Which I'll gladly do. Our final story of today is, "Look sir, I do work here, and I am the boss." About 5 years ago, I worked at the International Center of a university in the US. To give some background info, I am an Asian female, 5 feet 1 inch in height, and though I was in my early 30s at the time, I did still look quite young and was often mistaken for being in my early 20s or late teens. My main job responsibility at the time was the recruitment, training, and management of about a dozen international student interns who worked the front desk. Anyways, we had been swamped that so I hadn't had time to go out to eat lunch. I got a sandwich at our campus vending machine and sat down in the break room. The break room was always cold due to the AC blasting through the room, so I put on a comfy university jacket I kept at my desk just to wear during break. I kept the break room door open to keep an ear out for the front, and let my interns know they could still pop in to ask any questions they want. I had hired a couple new students that month, and they were still learning. A few minutes later, I heard a man's voice yell something along the lines of, "No. No. You do not understand. You are stupid. Stupid." The childish outcries exclaimed in a grown male voice made me immediately stand up and rush to the front desk area, without even remembering to take my jacket off. The man was literally wagging his finger at my intern and yelling while almost comically stomping his feet. I interjected his tantrum and introduced myself as the intern's supervisor, gave my name and position, and told him I could assist him with the issue. The man immediately looked me up and down, scoffed a short no. He then turned right back to the intern and asked her to call the supervisor, as he needed to ask someone who actually works here, not just some young girl like the intern who sits there at the front repeating nonsense. It wasn't my first rodeo with unnecessarily angry students, so I calmly gestured at my intern to step away and planted myself directly in front of him. That made him change his rant towards me, saying, "Listen, I know you Chinese want to help each other, but my issue is urgent and so I need to see your supervisor." Supervisor. Call, makes dialing phone gesture here, him and he can sign my I-20. Yes, both my intern and I were Asian. But nope, neither of us were Chinese. And I hate when people over-enunciate when speaking to me. My thoughts often immediately go to, English is my first language, beep, as is evident by the fact that I just spoke it to you. Also, it pissed me off that he assumed the supervisor would be male. I did my best to remain calm however, and confirmed the issue. "Oh, so you are here to get an I-20 travel signature? If you go online and submit the form, you will." "No. God beep. You don't understand, he screamed. He then proceeded in a rapid rant, saying that I must get a real staff member who actually works there, instead of giving him the same instructions again, because he needed his sign now, because he wanted to go out of town tonight and surely the school didn't want to make him, a student who pays such high tuition, to have to come back on campus just to get a signature before he leaves the country after his road trip? Do I know how money he gives to the school? He asked. Do little girls from China even understand how expensive his luxury trip was to book? He wondered. Get the man who can actually help him in here. He demanded. More background info. University students in the US on an I-20 visa need an updated signature on their form every once in a while in order to travel abroad and get back. Now, I hated it when entitled students asked for expedited services just for convenience. Many students actually planned ahead and made their requests on time, and it wasn't fair to expedite the process for whoever asked the loudest. I was actually the one who had the power to approve very limited last-minute travel signature requests due to real emergency situations such as family emergency, etc. But obviously, this guy and his luxury vacation wasn't going to qualify for expedited service just for being a D-bag. I raised my hand and put my palm out in front of his face for a second to stop his rapid ongoing rant. Again, sir, I am the supervisor in this area. No, let me continue. And I hear your issue. My intern here has given you the instructions for I-20 signatures already, but you want expedited service simply because you don't want to have to come back to the office another day to pick it up. Yes. Okay then. No, let me continue. Unfortunately, that cannot be arranged, so please go home and submit the online form like all of our F1 students and wait 2 to 3 business days for a response. He started to speak again, but I put my hand out again to stop him, maintained eye contact, and picked up the phone. Also, sir, if you do not leave immediately, I will be calling campus security to escort you out of this building for harassing me and my staff members. But before you go, just so you know, I will be noting in your form that you are missing X days from school. Note that you must maintain your full-time student status for your visa. As you have kindly told us of your planned weeks of absence, please be ready to submit documentation of why this was an excused absence from your classes. Lastly, do not insult my staff again or you will be banned from entering this office again. He stood there stunned for a few seconds, then started to say something again, but I then proceeded to dial the number on the phone. I couldn't remember campus security extension, so I was actually pressing random numbers, and so he ran out. This may not have been the best solution ever to a yucky situation, but this was actually the first time I kicked a student out of the office, so I was a bit shaken up about it. The best part of the story though, is what happened next. My boss at the time, white female in her 40s, walked in a few minutes after, and asked me to come talk to her. I thought I was in trouble for some reason. But she actually asked me instead if everything was okay, because she met a rude international student outside. Apparently, the rude man had run into my boss outside, and he had asked her if she happens to know who is the boss of the girl in there, and if she knew how he could talk to him. My boss had said that she was the supervisor of the woman who works in there and asked if she could help. The man apparently then said something along the lines of how she then needed to find him the man highest up the chain, because his issue demanded real work. He was rude enough that my boss actually did call campus police to escort him out of campus property. She told me that next time, the moment he raises his voice, I do not need to even engage him in conversation but can just kick him out immediately, as he was forewarned that is what will happen next time. Thank you for watching. Error. Problem detected. Not enough subscribers. Please subscribe, like and comment.